Alright, welcome to Star Enlightenment channel. We in for a very good video today. A very quick video on live. Today's gonna be a video about the spirituality or understanding of oversouls and understanding what oversouls are, um, what exactly they are, how they operate, and the way they work. Alright, so getting into it. Understanding first what is an oversoul. Oversoul is a fourth dimensional being that is over any title, name, place, or thing. So for instance, right? They play out smaller energies, right? They're smaller than within the fifth dimensional energy. Just so you have a good understanding idea, a fifth dimensional energy would be like a planet. So Earth itself is a fifth dimensional energy, aka it's planetary level. It's a planet, right? That's why there's other many different names for Earth. They call it Gaia. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But understanding that, so oversouls are smaller than that. A lot of times, clouds are fourth dimensional, um, but they're lowered, so they're fourth dimensional, but they're still floating around in the third dimension. So, AKA, they're still in the spirit realm because the fourth and the sixth dimension is the spirit realm, but they're in a situation where they're still in that realm, but they're down here floating around. So they lost, they haven't moved on, ascended. Their spirit may not be big enough to pass on or any of that stuff to fully go in that realm. And the when you sleep, right, and you're in the third dimension, you're still in the fourth dimension or the fourth and sixth dimensional realm, the spirit realm, the astral realm. You're just on Earth in that realm. So you're in the spirit side. Everything has a yin and yang. You have a physical body, but you have a spirit within you. When you're in the spirit realm, flying around Earth, you're still on Earth, but you're in the spirit. You're in the spirit realm. You're in Earth in the spirit realm. You see what I'm saying? So you're in the beyond the veil side of Earth, basically. So you're still in that realm, but you're still floating around here, lost, getting ready to get reincarnated because you're looking for another parent. And I've already made videos about that, and I go further in depth in the future. But that's the first thing you need to understand when you talk about oversoul, as far as like I was just giving examples of cloud, but there's many different oversouls. Some are bigger, more expanded, broader, have ascended further, and are fully in that realm. Um, to the point where they're not in the part of the fourth or the sixth dimension that deal with Earth anymore. They're fully submerged in that realm, the part that you can't make out of with your third dimensional conscious. But anyway, moving on. Anything with a title. So anything you see stuff, I don't care if it's Walmart, that's a certain, oh, and oversouls deal with the mental. So they affect the mind. They oversouls. So oversouls, whatever you agree with, that's an oversoul. So for instance, right, Walmart itself, many people go to Walmart. Walmart is a big thing. It's spread all out in America, right? So Walmart itself is a big oversoul. So whoever came up with Walmart, whoever was the first to initiate that idea and have that, aka what they want to call it, intellectual property, the first thought of Walmart, who created it from them, they would be the oversoul of Walmart. They probably passed on now, of course, right? I believe. I could be wrong, but they would be considered the oversoul of Walmart. And whatever spirit that dude had, whatever thought that he had when he was on Earth to have Walmart, that the spirit that he had on his mind, because thoughts are spirits, emotions and feelings of women, that's a different video. Then that'll be the spirit that resonated with him, and they together make up Walmart. But you get what I'm saying? He's the intellectual property of Walmart, so he's the fourth dimensional property of Walmart. Now, when you talk about gangs, like gangs, it could be anything. I'm just naming out different ones. Like you could have a mafia, the Mexican mafia, whoever. There's different structures and different strands of the Mexican mafia, but whoever came up with that idea of the Mexican mafia first in general, and whatever that sprang from, whoever was that first intellectual property, will be considered the oversoul of Mexican mafia. He's probably passed on too, of course. He would be the oversoul of the Mexican mafia. And then whatever, like I said, when he was alive, whatever thought that he had, whatever thought that was in that cloud that he had as a thought that resonated with that, wherever it came from, whether it came from an Aztec lineage or Aztec culture, it also resonates with that spirit too, because there's always life within life, resonation within resonation. But if he had that thought and he created and carried it out, then he would be the first example of the first oversoul of the actual Mexican mafia. You see what I'm saying? And the others, then the thought that he had, the spirit that was in that thought that he had, that he got influenced by to have that one that dude that Mexican mafia in the first place, because he had to resonate with it in the first place, resonated with him. So it probably takes a bigger version of whatever the Mexican mafia was, the after effect or the before effect of that, whatever that was before. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to talk about gangs, Bloods, Crips, the overall person who created the blood gang in general and whatever that came from, the first person to have that idea, even if it was peace, black peace stone, whatever it was before, but that ended up turning into the blood. Whoever had that first idea of the bloods in general, of wearing red and stuff like that, would be the intellectual property of the blood gang in general. So that's probably a big ass oversoul. You know what I'm saying? Big old intellectual property. So he was the first one to have that thought and idea. Um, and don't get it twisted. Whoever helped them had the ideas too. They follow along and help to carry it out, so they resonate with it too. So it's all relative energy. But if he was the first one, he's an intellectual property, and I believe he's passed on as well. A lot of these guys passed on that came up with these things. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying it for understanding. And so he play out a big energy because he take over a lot of space over in America. He take over space in Hawaii. He take over space in different places. So that's a huge soul. So that means he done expand his spirit so broad. He take over a lot of territory. The bigger your spirit is, that's the more territory that you do take up, and the more likely you can ascend and take a bigger body because your spirit is so expanded. AKA, I mean, you've learned so much knowledge. You've experienced so much of life because experiences will make your spirit broader. The more you experience, the more your spirit gets broader, it's bigger, it's more mature, more mature. As we get the concept of grand spirits, baby spirits, mature spirits, adult spirits, spirits that's on the journey of learning. Like it's different levels to it. But let's move on. Same thing with the crypt. The first one who had the idea of the crypt first, the crypts first. That would be the oversoul of the crypts. Now, wherever that strains from and other spirits that helped him, or the first thought that he had, that might have come from another energy as well. That the crypts is still affiliated because the crypts came after that first energy. But whoever came up with the crypt energy itself of wearing blue and what it is now will be the intellectual property of the oversoul of the crypt. So fourth dimensional beings are basically spirits who are over different shit, and it's everything in the world is an oversoul over. It could be um your neighborhood. It may play out a smaller version of something, but that's considered an oversoul. Your neighborhood, your city is definitely your oversoul. You got bigger cities, you got smaller cities, you got minute cities, you got grand, large New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. You see what I'm saying? Seattle size cities, Miami size cities. You see what I'm saying? That are more expanded. And that oversoul energy that takes over and that is reigns over those cities. That's why they be like, oh, it's a spirit over every city. You go into different cities, the way it feel, the vibe you feel different in each city. Some cities you go to, it feel like it resonate with you heavy. Some places you go to, it resonate with you heavy. So the spirit of that place resonate with you. Some places you go to, spirit it feel off and unkeen. So it don't really you feel like, man, this ain't really me. You be like, it's straight, but it ain't really me. And then some cities, you be like, you want to get the hell away from it as fast as possible because you don't ever feel the energy. So that's how it play out. But anything, you get the gist, but anything with a name and title. And then there's higher oversouls, like anything with a title, anything with a name and a title. It don't matter if it's just, the oversoul is something that takes over space. So basically, like, think of Asia. Asia, now that's a big ass, that's a big ass oversoul, huge oversoul. Done probably been there for a while. Done been through many different lives. Probably at one point got lost in one. It's expanded even more. Learned more knowledge, expanded broader. See what I'm saying? And then it is now in a place where it's in the spirit realm now because it's been right? Spirit been passed on. But it doesn't gain so much, not only traction but just size. It doesn't expand and experience so much. Hold on. Well, okay, I think I'm back. It done expanded so much that now it's the size of this continent that we call Asia. So everything that fits into Asia, India, Russia, all of that includes Asia, right? It rules over that whole terrain. That's a huge oversoul spirit. And to be honest, it was surely if it keeps expanding while it's in the spirit realm, which everything eventually gets to that point anyway. But how fast is up to that spirit, how fast it expands up to that spirit, and how much work it's putting in, how much experience it is continuing to have. But you gotta understand too in the situation where if that spirit that Asia the spirit that's over the Asia continent, the intellectual property that's over the continent of Asia, that spirit, if it keep expanding at a good rate, eventually it's so big now, it already can technically be like a mini planet. I think Pluto, I think the moon is like the size of a little bit over the size of America or something. Which the moon isn't a planet. I'm not saying that, but like Pluto, I think is a little bit bigger than the moon or something. So like, and Pluto's not quite a planet either, but they say it's like in between. So the Asia continent is so big. Eventually, if it keeps expanding, it could easily be a planet soon. the next couple lives of the Asian continent oversoul gonna definitely be a planet of it. It's technically already like a little mini planet now. All that life that's inside of it, as broad as it take up, as much space it take up, with all those different little mini worlds we call countries inside of it. Philippines, India. I think it got Pakistan in it. I could be wrong. It got like Russia in it. India I already said that. Japan, Korea. It got all them different places in it. So that was done expanded a lot. It done really expanded quite a bit, bro. So shortly but surely it should be a planetational being, where it'll be a planetary being, which it pretty much to me is already the size of like a miniature planet. But soon it'll be actually fully birthed out into that. Asia go lit, Asia go shout out to Asia. But understanding that, so this is what I mean when I say everything has oversoul. We all have fourth dimensional bodies, aka that's just our mental concepts. That's our mind body. You see what I'm saying? What we think, how we think, and then the broader of a spirit that we are, the more space our mind, the more space our spirit takes up more space. So if you're a really expanded person, you got a real broad spirit, you may think more far out than another person. You have more access to a lot of stuff mentally than another person. So your space is gonna take up more space even now while you're alive, but especially when you die without a body. That's really where you get the more access. And then your spirit gonna really take over more space then. You see what I'm saying? If you already got a lot of um if you already have a lot of expanse now. If you how do I say it? If you already a very expanded person now. Hold on. So I think I'm back. Okay, so that's pretty much it when you talk about oversouls. Everything that there's and then there's oversouls over dogs. There's oversouls over black people. There's oversouls over oversouls over white people. Oversouls over Asian people. Oversouls over Spanish people. You see what I'm saying? And then you got the miniature oversouls that are within them. Like when we talk about Spanish people, you can break down Spanish. Mexicans. You got the oversoul of Mexicans. You got the oversoul of Dominicans. You got the oversoul of Puerto Ricans. You got the oversoul of Cubans. What you gotta understand too is the bigger the oversoul, aka that's the first of something. That's why when I mentioned the whole thing, let's like the biggest or the big a big oversoul would be like Spanish, because Spanish got many different parts broken down within it. But the big the if you notice the bigger that oversoul is, that's over the whole thing. Usually has been here much more longer. I broke down the Bloods. I broke down the Crips. I'm gonna put my phone on a too. Hold on, let me see. All right, that's still on nine. But anyway, hope you can hear me. The oversoul that came first is always the biggest. That's like when I brought up the person who came up, the first person who was come up with the blood. That's an old spirit. That was back in way back in what 50, 70, 60. So that person been died, and he probably been living. He probably was born in like the 20s, and he already probably was reincarnated back into a life where he already probably lived several different lives. That's how he even was able to have the power that he have now, the influence he have now, because he been doing this. He done it in many different shapes and forms. So he done lived it multiple different times, and he probably done reached his breaking point now. Cause he's so big, he gotta take it over so big. Now, who knows if he can? If he's, once you get so big as a spirit, you can't take a body like that no more physically here. You have to take a higher body, like a fourth, fifth dimensional being. Um, but understand that the more primitive something is, the bigger it is. So that's why when I broke down Spanish, Spanish predates Mexican, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban. Spanish predates all those because it was the Spanish that came and took over those in the first place. You see what I'm saying? It took Spaniards and what they call them conquistadors. It took the Spanish people to come take over them in the first place before they even was named Cuba, before the intellectual property was even named Puerto Rico, or named Cuba, or named Dominican Republic, or named Mexico. You see what I'm saying? You gotta understand that too. So the energy of Spanish in general is the oversoul over everything that is Spanish. So that energy was already more primitive. So the first person who had that thought of Spanish, that's old as hell. That's like probably what, like 1700s. I ain't gonna say specific because it could have been before that. Because I know they came in trying to conquer stuff a while back anyway. A lot of these oversouls are resonate with this world. They still down here. They resonate with this world. And y'all, a lot of us now, y'all ain't even live here as long as a lot of them people live. You may look at it like they old people and they was back in the 15th, 16th, but they done lived on this earth a lot more longer than a lot of y'all have. A lot more longer than we have. You'll know that based upon your level of influence, knowledge, expansiveness, or how much you know, or how broad you are internally. You'll know that based off of these things. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people done already been doing this, and already did that, already been there, they done trained, they done did all kind of stuff. A lot of people that be good at certain things, certain sports, like boxing, MMA, that's good fighters. They done been fighting multiple different lifetimes. And I told you everything is like a chakra, aka an awareness. So there's many thousands of many chakras in you, and we have the seven main ones. The seven main ones that they say that govern our main energy centers in our life, like I said, emotions and feelings, because they're directly correlated. But there's many ones too that still deal with levels of life, like the ability to protect yourself and fight. That deals with a certain particular chakra, and we know that's closer. That's around the root chakra. You see what I'm saying? So the root chakra governs that whole area. It's the principality over that whole area. But there's many chakras in it that deal with other forms of awareness that correlate with that area as well. They may be smaller because the root chakra does the whole thing in general. So, for instance, a person that are that really good at fighting, they done already live an experience where they done already had to fight in multiple lifetimes. They done learned how to fight. They done did a lot of activities and experiences what they had to fight. So they constantly was fighting. They got used to it. Like I said, they learned a lot about fighting and all kinds of stuff. They came up with their own way about fighting. So they already in a situation where they already know how to fight. You see what I'm saying? So it ain't nothing new to them when they come into this realm. And since that's an awareness and an accumulation that they already familiar with, now they still have that ability now as DNA in this lifetime. They can fight. Same thing with people who a lot of times who want to be killing. A lot of times you don't just you don't just you don't just wake up one day in one lifetime and be like, I want to kill. No, you either got killed before or you in a situation where you've been doing that. And so you got born right into the same life that support that. The same circumstances that support that. That either make you want to do that, be around the right people that you gonna end up following to do that. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta take your life seriously. But some people that's what they want to do. And there's some people that they got tired of that sex situation. They on their path now to try to detach from that and get out of those negative, well, what you would consider, because there is no positive, negative, just experience out of those vibrations. So they want to experience something else. So it's best for them to not try to kill nobody or not trying to be in a situation where they take nobody else's life or even be around people that they know that might even happen. To stay away from people who even carry that vibration in general. Even if you're not trying to do something, if you know your homies, they may be your best friends, but if you know they understand vibration where they doing stuff, it's best for you to not even be in that situation. You see what I'm saying? But that's getting besides the point. But that's understanding the oversoul energy. And over everything, over every name and title, space and location, there's an oversoul over something. There's an oversoul that's over America. There's an oversoul that's over Brazil specifically. There's an oversoul that and there's an oversoul over Pacific states in America. There's oversoul over Pacific cities. You see what I'm saying? It's different size and levels of things. There's an oversoul over Miami. There's an oversoul over the state of Florida in general. And I remember whatever is more primitive, aka whatever came first, is usually more older. So the Florida got named before Miami was even a thing. Miami got named after the fact for it to be called Miami, Florida. So Florida was the first thing that they named this thing. Then after the fact, they started taking over different spaces and naming this city off of this, naming city after that. But you gotta understand first, it was just the state of Florida in general. So when Florida was Florida, and it's a different process too. Like stuff got cut, land got bought over, and stuff got stole, all that. But I'm saying that when Florida first got conformed as Florida, as the size that it is now, Florida boom as it is known today. When it finally got cut off, that was way before I believe Miami. I'm gonna do a research, but I had to be way before Miami was considered was first founded. And then what? Same thing with Louisiana. There's oversouls of Louisiana. There's oversouls of California. That's a real big place too, all the different places in it, like San Diego, there's an oversoul over that, there's an oversoul over Los Angeles, there's an oversoul over, you see what I'm saying, these different places. Now, since California came first, before the cities got named, we know California is the broader spirit, the greater spirit, and we know that. Why? Because it takes up more space. Same thing with Miami and Florida. We know Florida came first, so Florida is the more expanded, is the broader spirit, the broader oversoul. You see what I'm saying? So anything that's over something, see, that's the best way to say it. Something that's over something. And there's something, every space and location, every name and title, there's something over something. You see what I'm saying? And you got broader beings, and then you have smaller beings. How do you know a being more broader? By how much space it takes up. So let's say I say, so teeth is a name, right? That's a title. So we know there's an oversoul over teeth. So we know the oversoul over teeth might be a little bit more broader and expanded than, let's say, the oversoul of Florida or oversoul of California. How? How is that the case? How? I tell you? Well, because every human being on Earth has teeth. So the energy of having teeth expands all over this planet. So we know that's a bigger oversoul. You see what I'm saying? That's the best way to look at that like that. So everything is oversoul and oversoul energy, but there's smaller and broader, minute versions of it. But that's just getting into specific details. But you need to understand that there's an oversoul over everything, pretty much. There's an oversoul over color red, but we know that expands very broad too because you see what I'm saying. So you just need to understand. And with that being said, I'm gonna let y'all go. But oversoul is something that is over any name, title, place, or thing. You see what I'm saying? Like that. So like hammer. The first person that came up with the term hammer and what hammer mean and what a hammer is, he was the first intellectual property of what a hammer is of oversoul energy. So he'd be considered the oversoul of hammer. Now, whatever predated that before him, don't get it twisted. He resonated in the idea of hammers came and resonated from that first idea of whatever it was before it was called hammer. But that's that oversoul above him, and that probably predates and is bigger than him because it was birthed from that thought. But he is still the oversoul of hammers because he's the first one to come up with the concept of a hammer itself and to make it the way it is. But that's why I say spirits that birth from spirits, different spirits resonate with each other relative to space and all that stuff like that. But I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. Y'all have a good day. I'm gonna get off of here. Oversoul is something that is over any name, title, uh, place, or thing, and yeah, and that's what they call it oversoul because it's over something, And there's a spirit that's over technically everything to some extent. But with that being said, love y'all. Y'all take it easy. Hit me up in the conversation in the chat for questions, and I'll get back with y'all.